What was the point of showing the backstage footage from All in London involving the scapegoat in question, Jack Perry, and an individual that they refused to mention by name on their very own broadcast, current WWE superstar CM Punk? I'll tell you this. You can see it in the faces of the announcers before we get sent to that footage, before we get sent to the Young Bucks presenting that footage. Taz, Tony Schiavone, they're not happy. They're not, how can I put this, comfortable with this segment being presented on a scripted show. That's just an observation I made. I may be wrong about it. But I like the way the Young Bucks tried to spin it into how it involves their match with FTR at Dynasty on April 21st. They really tried so much, so hard to tie this into any type of story possible. And to be honest, it's a complete classic heel move that would have worked if it wasn't a real life issue, if it wasn't real life drama. Because here's the thing. Them spinning it into their feud, their rivalry with FTR, their match for the World Tag Team titles at Dynasty on April 21st is exactly what a heel would do, and it would have worked perfectly. But the fact of the matter is, it didn't, and it doesn't, because most of the fans that watch AEW are members of the IWC. They are, quote-unquote, wrestling marks like myself. They are, quote-unquote, smart about the business, quote-unquote, again. So we know, or we can assume, that the reason this footage was released was because of CM Punk's interview on the MMA Hour and everything he commented about AEW. So that's why, in my opinion, it didn't work. In my opinion, it wasn't entertaining. And that's the problem when it comes to pro wrestling. That's the problem when it comes to sports entertainment. You can do anything. You can talk about anyone. You can involve anyone, any kind of drama, whatever you want, as long as it is entertaining. Because if it's not entertaining, then you have what is going on right now. Most of the IWC, most of the internet, shitting all over the show, shitting all over this segment by AEW. On top of that, it seems, and this is again an observation that I've made, I may be right, I may be wrong, I don't know. If you agree with me or if you disagree with me, that's entirely up to you. But it seems that Tony Khan and anyone who hasn't competed with or for WWE has been given the direction to split the difference. And by that I mean, in my opinion, Tony Khan and AEW is, again, this is just my opinion, leading into the tribalism between WWE and AEW. I have no proof, obviously, but just all these underhanded comments, especially the one we had last night about Will Ospreay, talking about, or allegedly talking about Paul Levesque, Triple H, throwing shots at him. And if they could, they'd have Okada do the exact same thing, but Tony Khan knows that English isn't his first language, so it wouldn't translate as well on TV. I mean, and it's not the talent's fault. It's not the Young Bucks' fault. It's not Jack Perry's fault. It's not CM Punk's fault. This was a decision. This footage is only released because the leader, the owner, the president of your company decided to. It's the only way it gets released. And obviously, since he calls the shots, he's the owner, he's the boss, he can do whatever he wants, and nobody can deny him that. So in my opinion, the talent is not at fault here. And AEW has so much talent, and that's what pisses me off even more. That's what pisses me off every single week of this type of bullshit, because this type of bullshit ran TNA down into the ground to the point that they had to rebrand into Impact Wrestling. This type of bullshit ran WCW out of business because they couldn't get their shit together. And again, I'm going to keep watching AEW for the talent because it's a fantastic wrestling, pro wrestling show, bell to bell. It never misses. But deciding to release this type of footage, and again, the way they presented it, very unentertaining. It looked like TikTok or YouTube video. I mean, again, I'm just looking forward. I'm grinding through watching these types of segments, watching this type of bullshit and drama from AEW just to get to April 21st at Dynasty, and hopefully they make the right call. Hopefully they put the AEW World Championship on Swerve Strickland because he is one of the, if not the most over guy on the entire show, on the entire roster. It would be fantastic press. It would take away from all this drama that they do not need to get involved in. But again, this is just an observation I'm making, but it seems to me Tony Khan and AEW is leaning more and more into tribalism and separating WWE fans from AEW fans. And that is unfortunate. That's how you create a rivalry between the two companies. That's how it works in sports. That's how it works everywhere else. And that's what they want to do. Hey, they want a small niche wrestling audience. They don't want to grow. CM Punk said it better on the MMA Hour. That their business model is very, very different from WWE's. And again, their presentation, everything they do, very different from WWE. And there's a reason why WWE is making money hands over fist, why that product's hot. Meanwhile, there's tons of reports out there that unfortunately AEW is struggling to sell 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 tickets for their Wednesday night Dynamite shows. And that's their top show. So with that said, again, I didn't really see any point to the footage being showed or being broadcast live on TBS. It did nothing for wrestling fans. It did nothing for me as a viewer. That's just my opinion. I don't think it helped the company at all. So, yeah. Hopefully we get away from this bullshit and as we get closer to Dynasty, we're able to talk about the actual action and talent in that ring. So with that said, what are your thoughts on the All In backstage footage broadcast last night on Dynamite? Do you think it was the correct move by AEW to show that live on TBS? Do you think that maybe they should have just strayed away from all this drama, focus on their talent? I don't know. Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comment section below. With that said, I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and I'll see you next time.